Today we're going to build an anvil stand out of this log. So something so satisfying about taking bark off. And when you think about that, it's a pretty compelling argument. How many years have I been fooling around with this silly block on my anvil, trying to forge, trying to blacksmith, pounding on it and chasing it around as it dances around the floor? It is something that I should have done a long time ago, and I'm glad to get rid of this. We need for our anvil, when we're pounding on this, it needs to be really solid. It can't move around. And granted, this is not a very big anvil, it's just a little one. It's just the one I happen to have, but it still needs to be immovable. So we're going to start with this big log. This here is a windfall that came down this spring. It's a big red fir. It's been sitting here in the shop, starting to check a little bit, but it's really nice, really good size. It's probably about, what would we say, 16 inches in diameter, and it's going to make a great base for our anvil. The very first thing we need to do is we've got to determine how tall this anvil should be. So what I've got here is I've got a folding ruler that's chalked up here in the vise, and what I'm going to do, and how the old timers did it, I don't know if this is the best way, it's just what I found in some really old books, was to stand next to a tape measure like this in a normal standing position with your knuckles like this, and stand next to the tape measure and see where do your knuckles fall. Stand normal, straight. Make sure you're wearing the shoes or the boots that you're going to wear in the shop, because that can make a big difference too. So right there, what do we have there? So that's showing 33 inches. So that means we want the top of our anvil at 33 inches. So just for curiosity's sake, let's see what we had before. So what I have been using, this has been 32 inches. That's about right. I've always felt it was pretty close, just a tad bit short, but we're going to raise it up. We're going to raise it up 1 more inch. So we've got our 33 inches overall. That's what we want to be. So let's measure this. So this anvil is 8 inches. So if we take our 33 and then we subtract our 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That puts us at 25 inches. So our block needs to be 25 inches plus the 8 will bring us to the 33. So one of the hardest things to do, it doesn't seem like it's hard, but it really is to cut on a round log like this, freehand cut with a chainsaw, a true 90, especially 2 of them that are parallel to each other. It's exceedingly difficult to do. But I have a trick that I think, I haven't done it before, but I think it's going to work really good. But to do it, we need to get this log cleaned up. So we've got these knobs and knots and all the stuff on there, and we've got some checking right here. Now, when you see these cracks in wood like this is called checking. And several people have asked about timber framing, isn't that a problem? Isn't that really weak in the wood? And actually, it doesn't. That's the reason why most people who timber frame, timber frame with green wood. And you just expect some of this, because it's nicer to chisel with, it's nicer to do joinery with green wood, it's easier, but who has the ability to kiln dry big timbers? It would be very cost prohibitive and it would take a long time, and it's just a step that most people can't do. So this is a natural way of doing things. You can slow this down and prevent this from happening. Let's say you have a piece of wood that you want to save and let it dry naturally for years, and you don't want it to have big cracks and checks through it. What you can do is you can paint it with some scrap paint, but really heavy, like a heavy latex paint or an oil-based paint, something that will really exterior grade, that will really seal it in there, because wood dries from the ends. And that's what it's doing, is it's not drying from the body of it. Almost everything, all the moisture comes out the ends, and so that's where it starts to dry and starts to crack, because it's drying uneven. But painting that with beeswax or old candle wax or paint will slow that down and cause that to dry very, very slowly, and preventing that checking. So the first thing I'm going to do is we want to cut off all those nubs, and we'll do that with a chainsaw. I have really been trying to get into the habit of wearing my chainsaw chaps. Mrs. Wranglerstar made me promise to wear them whenever I start the saw, which is it's a little bit silly for things. Well, is it silly? I don't know. What does it take? 30 seconds to put your chainsaw chaps on, and are we really too busy to do that? I have used these Stihl professional chainsaw chaps. I've had them for over 10 years now, 12 years probably. And you guys know how much I use them. I use them quite often. and they are really good. If I was going to recommend a pair, I'll tell you which ones. These are getting pretty old. They're going to be replaced in a year or two. I'll be getting another pair just like them. The Forest Service guys that I've been training with are also they're mandatory on wearing a hard hat with a chainsaw, which I thought, well, that's kind of silly, especially if you're working in your shop. What's going to really fall on your head? But their school of thought is this: if that chain comes back and kicks back up on you, it gives you an extra layer of protection and keeps it out of your face. And when you think about that, it's a pretty compelling argument. So now our next step, what we want to do is we're going to take off the bark. Taking off the bark off Doug firs when they're green, it's pretty tough. I mean, it's not super tough, but it is kind of labor intensive. The more that the log sits and as it starts to shrink a little bit, it starts to kind of separate from the bark, and it's a little easier to get off. Just looking at this, it hasn't reached that state. This is going to be kind of tough to get off. So what I typically do is you can use lots of different things. A draw knife works really good. We might break one of those out here in a minute. But typically, I'll loosen it up with my favorite axe here, my small forest axe, and then use what they call a bark spud, which you've seen this guys in the past. This was actually, I made this on my Blacksmith forge. I got the socket here, was from an old hoe that my subscriber Fempause and Twinkle gave me. And I was able to make that and then a piece of steel out of there. So it's got a radius in it there, so you can kind of follow that bark around. Really works good, works super good. And then the axe just to kind of chip things up and move along. What's my favorite axe? This is my favorite axe. It's funny, it kind of dawned on me yesterday. Mrs. Wranglerstar and I were looking at either maybe getting a raft or some stand-up paddle boards. We had some years ago when they first came out, and we sold everything when we bought this place, trying to raise money, and so we were hoping just to go find a couple used ones or some cheap ones. So we were looking at this place that had some, and there was a guy there that was from Portland firefighter. He had his uniform on, and he had a really the new Motorola, they're kind of a lime green case on him, new Motorola radio. And I'm always interested in radios and such, so I started a conversation with him asking about that. And he said, "Man, you really look familiar. Where do I know you from?" And I just said, "Yo, do you watch YouTube?" He's like, "Yeah, that's it. You're the axe guy." And I thought, that's funny, I hear that all the time, that I'm the axe guy, because I'm not really the axe guy. I know guys that are axe guys. I know guys that know a lot more about it than I do. Rooster from Axe Junkies, if you want to know about axes, I know he's a pretty squared away guy. But anyway, by default, I guess I am kind of the axe guy on YouTube. But this is my favorite. If you wanted to know, the Grand Forest Brook Small Forest Axe is the last one that I would want to part with. It's good for so many things. But enough of that. Let's start debarking our log here. Make sure you wear your gloves. This bark is like 2 grit sandpaper. That's where the term barking your knuckles. You ever heard that? I barked my knuckles, or I knocked some skin off my knuckles from this sharp bark. Like the Pondo pines and the Doug firs have a really heavy abrasive bark. Well, what I typically do is I'll just come in here and just make a series of little chops like this here, hash cuts, kind of come back both ways. You'll see here how thick this Doug fir bark really is. It's really thick. And this is just a second growth baby tree. This isn't like the big gnarly old growths. Those things, their bark can be a foot thick. It can. I've seen it. It's really something. It insulates them from wildland fire. Those big ones. It takes a lot to get those guys going and burning up. So once we get down here, you see we get that. There we go. That's the cambium layer there. That's the cambium layer is right there between that white wood and that heavy bark. There's a lot of moisture in here. You can really see it. You can really feel it. But we should be able to, once we get that Once we get that off there, yeah, this bark will come off pretty good. This tree's been sitting a while. Now is where our bark spud comes in. Whoops, we'll be sharpening that again. Comes in. You see how that design? There's lots of different designs. This is kind of, I just looked at a bunch of really old ones, and I made it this way with the chisel grind in it. I put that chisel grind on there like that both ways, and also on the sides, so it cuts really good on the sides. So you can use it either way. You can use it to go around the log, which really helps towards the bottom, or you can use it this way if you need some more prying power, like this here. And the way that's ground, it doesn't, you know, it's not like a chisel where it's only ground flat on one side. It won't get stuck on you. It's just so bad. So something so satisfying about taking bark off. I don't know what it is. It's maybe it's because I think my family is like a family of pickers. My sister, the fresh pea, we always give her a hard time that she's a picker. She'll sit next to you, and if you have any like little bumps on you, or who knows what, you see those monkeys that sit and pick fleas off of each other. We don't have fleas, but she's kind of like that. She likes to pick loose skin, and my son Jack's got it too. He loves it. Any type of like sunburned skin or something peeling off, he's right over there. He's over there peeling it off of you. Maybe this is kind of my version of that. The reason I'm kind of gung-ho on getting this anvil stand sorted out is I've got one of those Whitlock, those wood fire blacksmith forges coming that I ordered, like the ones I showed. I did a video at Mother Earth News Fair of them. I'm going to be happy to be liberated from forging with coal because I don't like buying stuff like that when there's other ways to do it. I have so much wood on the Homestead, unlimited mini lifetime supply, that if I can use that, that's much more satisfying and much less expensive. So that's, but I've got my bees in my top bar beehive are doing really well. I've never had bees thrive like these are. They're just going crazy. Twice as much honey as anything I've had in the past. But I've got an idea to build a little kind of a really specific a couple little tools that will help in the extracting of honey and getting the frames out. And I want to forge those. And I'd like to forge those on my new forge. But nonetheless, even if it doesn't come in time, I know that they're swamped because I did that video and so many of you guys ordered those. I just told them, don't get in any rush, don't worry about me. I've got something that I can use in the meantime. Just get to it when you get caught up. So I'll share that with you when it comes. But we're going to make those. We're going to make those tools for the beehive. I don't really know why, but I really enjoyed making that video. It was a nice day. It was a fun day working in the shop. I like working on those logs. I really do. So what's up with this stupid looking glasses, Cody? Or, man, those are really cool glasses. They're just like mine. You have good taste. It kind of runs. More people like them than dislike them. Well, they're not safety glasses. They're prescription glasses. I just got them at Costco, and they didn't have very cool frames, but they had these, and I thought, that's kind of cool. I always liked Elvis Costello, and I thought they kind of made me look like Elvis. And well, everyone knows that you just can't get any cooler than Elvis Costello. So these are my prescription glasses and bifocals. I couldn't believe it. I thought that was something for old people, but I can't see. I haven't been able to see up close very well for the last couple of years or so. I've been wearing reading glasses. Normally I wear contacts, and then I'm putting safety glasses on all the time, and then
when you wear contacts, they're like magnifying glasses on your eyes, and so they really intensify the sun, and so you're always looking for sunglasses, and it's this rotation of all these different glasses. It's a hassle, especially when you do work like I do, a lot of fine detail stuff. And so I was talking to the guy, and he's like, you know what, just get them. Get the bifocal, get the whatever they are, transition lenses, bifocal lenses with the tinting sunglasses and the anti-glare. And I'm like, all right, I'll just get them. I'll just have them for backup. But I like them so well. I wear them all the time because when I'm in the shop, I don't have to look for sunglasses or safety glasses. And when I walk outside, I already got my sunglasses on, and they're comfortable. And I think that they're fantastic. So I'll be wearing them a lot. So if you don't like them, I'm sorry. Is that it? No. Well, that's it. Yeah, there's gonna be another part. I'll put part 2 up tomorrow. I'm not gonna have time to get that done for you today, but thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next part. Stay tuned, because I think you'll like what you might learn a thing or two. There's a few little tricks that I shared that I did for the first time that worked out really good. But we'll see you over there on the next video.